Hi, everybody. Starting the Zoom meeting. No one's here yet, but if people sign in, I'll invite you and request you to get in here. If not, there'll be a recording. Obviously, if you're watching this, you're probably seeing the recording right now. So let's get right to it. I just want to go over some of the basics to how to set up options, how to look for positions somewhat, how to buy to close orders, how to stop losses for credit spreads and whatnot. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. All right, some basics on selling options for premium. What's the main reason that we do this strategy? So main reason is it's a way to earn income via the premium that you collect from selling an option. Options are a lot like the casino, and you're going to take bets on a stock not reaching a certain price and make money on a bet. So you can think about it as, let's say a stock's at $100 a share, and you're pretty sure it's not going to drop down to $85 a share. Someone might be willing to take that bet because they're very bearish and they think it's going to drop down below 85 to like 70, 60. So you could do a side bet with them saying, I don't think the stock will go below 85 in the next, say, month expiration. And obviously to take this bet, you need to get paid for it. So in that case, they might pay you, say, $40 in it. And then at that case, you'll be able to make that money and keep it all if the stock doesn't go below 85. Okay. Most options, especially ones that we do, expire worthless. And selling options, however, do have that high probability of success. Almost like a car insurance company, you're going to be taking in premiums for many, many, many cars. A large percentage of them will actually get into any accidents, but maybe a small percent will. So you will have an occasional loss. But in those cases, the gains should offset it. Otherwise, you're going to be a broke car insurance company, right? Let's go over what a cash secured put is. In a cash secured put, you're going to be agreeing to buy 100 shares of stock if it reaches a certain price, and that's called the strike price. Okay. Good way to own a stock at a cheaper price than the current price, and you also get paid to just wait to see if the option goes into your favor or not. And it also is a good way to earn significant premiums. For some longer term strategies, you could consider some pretty much blue chip stocks, Apple, Microsoft, and whatnot. You could sell a put a little bit below the current price if you think it's a little overpriced, but you do want to own that company. You can sell a cash secured put, get in at a better entry price, and then also get paid for it. It's like we got one here. Hey, Josh, how are you? So I'm just going over cash secured puts and how to set up the orders for now. And then in the end, there'll be time for some questions if you have any. Okay. So again, cash secured puts, good way to earn significant premiums when you are agreeing to buy the 100 shares of stock at a certain price. Now we mostly focus on high implied volatility positions. And the reason why is you can make more premiums that way. The higher the implied volatility, the more the variation in your stock price. So if you have a very high implied volatility, the market's not really sure if the stock's going to go dramatically up or dramatically down. And because of that, there's a little bit more uncertainty. You're going to be able to get more money on your bets that you're making compared to ones that are relatively stable, like dividend paying blue chip type stocks. You also could choose positions very far out of the money, and you get a big cushion that way. Let's say a stock with high implied volatilities at $20 a share, and you agree to sell a cash secured put at maybe $12 a share. So you get a big difference between that 20 to the 12. And because of that, you'll be able to have that good cushion. If the stock price falls quite a bit, it might fall to say 15, 14, but then in that case, you'll still keep the full premium that you made when you sell your position. I want to go over an example of how to set up a cash secured put. And we're going to look at the Thinkorswim platform here. Let's go to one tab. I'm using the on-demand feature, which you could actually go back in time to actually look at different time periods and how to make a trade for it. So right now we're on November 16th of 2021. I literally just picked a random day and 11:34 in the morning. So let's say Palantir, a certain company that has a pretty high implied volatility. and we might want to consider selling a cash secured put on it. The price at that time was $23.03. Remember, on November 16th here. So let's say we go 1 month out to December 17th, about 31 days after. We want to be looking for prices that it's most likely not going to reach. Let me add another guy here. Hi there, I'm just going over how to enter the orders in cash secured puts. There'll be a recording on this as well that you can rewatch anything I missed. So right now we're at November 16th, $23 strike price. We want to go really far out of the money, something real. So if you guys don't mind muting, and then I'll go over some type of Q&A about 10-15 minutes, okay? So let's say, again, it starts at $23. A pretty good chance it won't go down to, say, $20. The delta is the approximate chance that it won't get into that price. So right now, there's a 14% chance it won't get down to the $20 strike price. What we want to do is, here I have the option chain. The right side are your puts. And so you want to click on the bid price. Right now, the bid price is $25. That means you'll be receiving $25 for selling one contract, $26 right now. The ask price is $27. Usually, you could almost always get the bid price. The ask price, sometimes you could get it. If there's a wide difference here, you usually want to start near the middle in between it. But right now, there's only a $1 difference. So I'm going to try to sell the put. All you got to do is left click on the bid for the strike price you want. This comes up. You'll be selling one put on Palantir. December 17th. That's essentially your bet that you're thinking is not going to go below 20 by then. $20 strike price. And we're going to receive $26 in premium. Maybe leave the rest alone, confirm and send. And in this case, I virtually bought one put for $26. Okay. If you see in our monitor tab, we're doing a lot of SPY lately, but we have the Palantir. I sold one contract 31 days out. Again, we're testing it out. This is from November 16th to December 17th. Trade price $26. That's how much money you received. The mark price is the current price or value of the option. Pretty much the same right now. This will move as Palantir changes the strike price. And then you have your deltas. Okay? Now, what we want to do when we're doing these trades is typically we want to buy to close them at around a 50% profit. I do have a few reasons why. If I can open those up. I think I put it. I guess not. I'll go back to it. All right. So in this case, we received $26. We're going to try to buy to close this at about 50% profit. So that'll be about $13. The way to do that, click on the monitor tab, click on the actual position, and you're going to right click it, closing order. And we're going to try to buy back this contract. So we already sold the position. We're doing the opposite. We're trying to buy the position. One contract, same exact parameters. And then we want to buy it obviously less than what we sold it at. Let's try to sell it at $13. It'd be 0.13. Limit order is okay. And then you want to change this to good till canceled. The reason why is if you leave it on a day order, in the end of the market day, if it doesn't go down to 13, this order goes away. So you just want to set and forget it. Just do good till canceled. And then confirm and send. When you go back to the monitor tab, you'll see the working order. So it's attempting to buy this back at the $13 of premium. And it came to be 26 that you brought in when you sold the contract, minus the 13 when you bought the contract. You have a $13 gain here. That's not going to happen right away. Probably take at least a week or two, possibly, depending on if the stock stays where it is, if it goes up, if the implied volatility changes and gets lower, then these options will be worth less. And then you don't even have to really do anything else at this point. You just leave this the way it is. Whenever it fills, then the $20 times 100, or in this case, the $2,000, would go back into your brokerage account, and then you can feel free to do another contract. Okay? You guys that are watching, any general questions how to set an order and also how to do that buy to close, good till canceled order? You guys could unmute if you have to. Okay. And there'll be time later for Q&A if you have any. Now, can you also sell options on shares you already own? Yes. You can do this in more than one way. Let's say that Palantir position, it drops down a little below 20, let's say it goes to 19 on that expiration date. In that case, you're going to have to buy 100 shares of stock at the $20 strike price. That's what you agreed on when you sold the contract. But what you could do then, you would own 100 shares of Palantir. You could then essentially rent out the shares you already own to someone else, and then you're going to do what's called a covered call. So sell your put and a covered call. If you do both of those in one turn, it's essentially the real strategy. So we're going to mimic how to do that. And I'm just going to pretend here that I'm buying 100 shares of stock with Palantir. So I want to click there. Just click on the last price. Right click buy. And we'll just do market order. So we're buying 100 shares. It's going to cost us $22.98 based on the current share price. And then we go to the monitor tab. You suddenly have 100 shares of Palantir. Right? I'm going to get rid of this particular order just so it makes a little more sense. Just find that back so I don't see it. Here are my 100 shares of Palantir. You're going to right click that order. Actually, another way you can do it, just go to the trade tab. Go to the date that you're willing to sell the covered call on, because you do own the 100 shares already. And then you could sell the covered calls a little bit higher than the current price if you're deciding to just buy and sell covered calls on it. I tend to look around a 0.2, 0.25 delta or so. This gives a good balance between bringing in some money to renting out your shares and also possibly keeping those shares. So then they expire worthless, you can do it again and again. So let's say, for instance, the $23 or so, we could sell around the 26 call option. You go to the left side of the screen for calls. The 26 bid is $36. That's how much we'll be bringing in for agreeing to sell it at 26. 37 is the ask price. We're going to right click bid. We're going to sell one call. So sell one. December 17th, 26 strike price, and should probably fill at $36. Fill at 36. So in this case, we bought for pretty much $23. We're agreeing to sell it at $26 on the expiration date of December 17th. In this case, you would be receiving the $36 immediately in your brokerage account. You can do whatever you want with that. Sometimes if your accounts are relatively big, maybe you could sell enough premium to buy 100 more shares of a company, and you could actually sell covered calls on it if you want. If it goes to past 26 at expiration, you would sell your shares at the $26, which would be from $23 to $26, a $3 gain per share. And you're doing this with 100 shares, you would make $300. So your overall return would be the $300 in capital gains you get from the share price going up, plus the $36 you already received. You would earn $336 in total return, and you bought it for about $2,300 or so. Divide those two numbers, you get about a 15% return in 1 month. It's a very good return to get, right? So that's essentially selling covered calls. If you get assigned on a cash secured put, then you'd see on the monitor tab 100 shares, and then you could just sell the call on it. You do the same things as well if you sell a covered call, and let's say the stock price is staying at 23 for a while. Maybe it goes up slightly to 24. The option you sold might be worth less. You can buy back these at a lower price that you sold it at. So maybe it goes down to 20 bucks, 15 bucks as it gets closer to that expiration. Then you just buy the contract back, and you can sell another covered call after that if you want. Any questions on covered calls? Anyone that's watching? All right. Now let's go over the credit spreads, okay? I'm going to focus mostly on the put credit spreads because we usually recommend. In a put credit spread, you're essentially selling a put and then buying a put. It'll be at a lower price than the current price. So for example, say a stock's at $100 a share. It'd be a bit tough to sell a cash secured put on this. Let's say you're trying to sell a cash secured put around 90. 90 times 100, $9,000 is quite a bit of money to be using, right? But let's say we sell a put for 90 and then buy a put lower than that at 85. Maybe we'll receive about a $30 premium for that. But what's good about this is you're not going to have to put up the $9,000 to do this trade. You only have to put up the width of the spread. So you do 90 minus 85. That'll be 5 times 100 for 100 shares, $500, minus the $30 you're receiving for the premium. So that'll be only $470 in buying power to actually set up a trade like this. Very capital efficient doing credit spreads. Now let's say this expires worthless. The stock doesn't go below 90 anytime until expiration. You get to keep your $30. You did initially start with $500 in buying power to start the position. You get us divide by 470, it's pretty much the same thing. 30 divided by 500, you get a 6% return. And it's possible to do these things in every 30, 45 days, possibly. Okay? So those are the pros. You could actually be very capital efficient and get very good returns. If you sold a put at 90 and that's it, then buy the put. That'd be a cash secured put. Very doubtful you'll be getting 6% on that, right? The cons are they are a bit harder to manage. The reason why is when you're buying this put, it also changes in value. So it's a little harder to get in and out of credit spreads compared to the cash secured put. You could also hit a max loss in your positions. You gotta be careful with these. You could possibly lose the full $500. And the way that can happen is if the stock goes below 85. So if it closes at 84.99 or less, then the put you sold, you'd be down $500 essentially. You buy a put at 85, it'd be worth like a penny. So that 1 penny goes from the put you sold, and then you'd hit your max loss of $500. So max loss would always be below the price you bought your put at. Okay. Let's do an example of how to set that up in your brokerage. So I'll just pick a random one. Let's see, Apple, good old Apple. At the time of November 6th tab, or 51. We're going to go 1 month out again. You want to find a relatively safe position for credit spreads. There's a lot of strategies in terms of what deltas to use. Some people like the very high deltas if they're very bullish and they think the stock will go up. You would receive a lot of premium for that if you sold, say, the 145. However, I like to go very safe and try to get at least a 2 to 4% return per month on these. So I might look at the 130, which is quite a bit lower than the 151 for a blue chip stock. The way to set up this order, you're going to right click whatever you want to sell your option at, right click the bid, right click sell, and then go to the strike you want to buy it at. You want to buy the 125, click the ask. I press the control key on my keyboard, control left click. Okay? Then it should say vertical, because that means it's a vertical spread. If it says credit here, that means you set it up right. This would be a credit spread. Okay? Now, this one's not paying really that much. It's only getting $8 in credit for a month out.
not really worth it to me. I'd probably go to the 135. So you're gonna click the 135 in the bid, control click the 130 at the ask. It's a little bit better. And this is probably a pretty reasonable conservative trade here. The 135 is quite a bit below the 151, so you get cushion. You receive $16 in credit. Doesn't sound like a lot, but you're only using 35 minus 30, $500 in buying power. 16 divided by 500 is a 3.2% return in 1 month. You do those all the time and you never get assigned or max loss on them, you'll do really well. Okay. Now, for these, you want to set a stop loss. The reason why is we do not want to hit your max loss. Losing $500 to just take in 18, it's going to be pretty much impossible to win out on the strategy. Okay. On credit spreads, I typically like to place a stop at a loss of 3 times the premium you receive. For instance, if you receive 30, you're going to put a stop order at 90. It's 30 times 3. So here's how you do that. Let's enter this trade first. May not necessarily fill right away. Just for teaching, will be 15 in this. So let's say $15. Back to the monitor tab, you're going to see both options. The negative one is the one you sold. The positive one is the one you bought. Okay. 30 days out, your trade price, we received $44 in the 135 put we sold. We paid $29 for the 130 put we bought. We subtract those, you get 15. Now, we want to do a stop order. Because what if this drops completely and Apple turns below 130? We could lose $500. So the way to do a stop order is you're going to press click, and we unclick these. Click one option, press control click, so you get both options up. And then right click, create closing order to buy it. Okay. You'll see your same trade come up. In this case, it's going to be a debit because we're trying to buy it back. You sold it for $15, 0.15. Let's do a 3x stop on it, times 3. So that means we're willing to buy this back if it gets to 0.45. If it gets to 0.45, that means the trade's starting to go against us, and there's a danger for us to possibly hit the max loss. Okay? So we're going to be willing to buy it back at 0.45. If it happens to get stopped out, which does occasionally happen, you would be down to $45 you're buying it back at. But you already received 15. 45 minus 15 is a $30 loss on the trade if you hit the stop. Okay. Now, very important here for your order, 0.45. So we're willing to buy it back at. You have to make this a stop order. What that means is, as this particular spread is changing its values based on the stock price, it's going to try to buy it at $45. If that order becomes $45, it turns into a market order, and then it'll try to buy back as close to 45 as it can. It doesn't guarantee you're going to buy it at exactly 45. If there's horrible news and Tim Cook gets into the hospital or something, it could go from 44 to 70. Okay. So then you would have to buy it at 70. But in most cases, for a lot of the positions we do, a stop order is perfectly fine. Instead of day one, do good till cancel, because we want to leave this option open to try to buy it. Close it if we need to, confirm and send, and it's going to now be a working order in your tabs. Okay. The current value is 16. It's going to try to close it if it gets down to 45. That's for example the stop order. And that's all I have ready for you guys. Stop share. Anyone out there, Josh, or anybody else, do you have any other general questions how to set up these orders or Any questions about anything? All right. Well, I'm going to record this and send it to you guys so you can rewatch it at your own pace. If you have any general questions based on what we're doing and how to figure that out, then obviously leave any questions on the Discord, and talk to you guys later.